Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. Today we're going to be taking a look at another one of Granddad's. This might be Great-granddad's old gun and his choice for personal protection, maybe when he was going on down to the speakeasy. This is a Hopkins Allen XL double action. It's a 32 Smith & Wesson. This is an old one, and we're going to take a closer look at it. Okay, here it is. This is a Hopkins Allen 32 XL is what it is. It's a XL double action. This one is chambered in 32 Smith & Wesson. Now, Hopkins Allen was founded in 1868. They went bankrupt in 1898 and then reorganized, but lost everything in their factory, their machinery, the whole 9 yards in a fire in the 1900s. Actually, in 1900. In 1905, the warehouse was robbed of all its inventory, and if you look at the prices on some of these things, they weren't out a whole lot of money, at least not by today's standards. Back then, that was a pretty good chunk of change. The factory was rebuilt in 1901 and produced about 40,000 firearms a year in different configurations. They did some break action, break tops, and all that kind of stuff. They had a contract to build Mauser rifles early in World War I, but kind of lost the contract when Germany invaded Belgium and never really financially recovered, and then finally went bankrupt in 1916. This one, I do not have any specific information on the serial number to know exactly what year this one was made, but I suspect just by where the serial number is, this one's on the bottom, some of them were on the inside here. I think this one was made after 1901. I'm not 100% sure, but if it was, it should handle modern smokeless powder. But what I've done is I actually found a few 32 Smith & Wessons. These are actually black powder rounds here, and it did say on the box the piece fell off before I got it home. But anyways, these are 32 Smith & Wessons, and they are center fire. These were also made in rim fire too, but this one is a center fire one. And I've got 15 rounds of Smith & Wesson in the black powder rounds. So I'm going to give these things a try and see if this 100-plus-year-old handgun here will fire these probably 100-year-old rounds. Let's take a closer look at it. To take the cylinder out, you've got a little pin right here, or a little lever on the bottom of the base pin. So push that up, and then you can pull your base pin out, and then you can take the cylinder out, and you'll see here it's a 5-shot. So it is a little bitty thing. The rounds fit right down in there. They fit in there nicely. They do not protrude past the end there. So these are, I believe these are 32 Smith & Wesson shorts. There were some longs too, but I could not find any modern ammo for this thing, so I'm going to have to go with these old ones here and hope they fire. If they don't fire, they are center fire, so I can reload them. I'd have to get a I have to find some bullets for it or get a mold to make them, and then the correct dies to be able to reform these and everything. It is center fire, like I said. You can see, maybe you can't. It is centered in there. The firing pin hole is centered in there, so it is a center fire. Now, one of the weird things about this is the rounds do fit through this slot on the side here to load it. The biggest problem with it is, though, we'll put the cylinder back in there. See if we can get it all lined up and everything. Get our base pin back in it, and the base pin does have a flat spot on it, so that's got to be up against the barrel. You got to watch which way you put it in there. Get everything hopefully lined up. No, not quite. Let's try this again. Okay, there, I think I got it. All right, we got it put back in there. This cylinder kind of free spins in there. It doesn't lock into place until you actually either cock the hammer for single action, then it locks into time. It's a little sloppy, but I think it's going to be just fine for this one. Or if you fire it in double action, it will lock the cylinder when it goes to fire there too. So these rounds, like I said, you can load them in here. So the problem is, if you've got this gun like this, you could also drop your round right out of it. So carrying it, you're going to want to carry it just like that. Now this is a very small gun. It's about the size of the palm of my hand, so it's easy to fit in a pocket or in a small holster or something like that, but you definitely want to carry it upright like that. I would think, okay, so the hole's not going to be lined up with the loading port on there when you've got it cocked and it's locked into position, so you don't have to worry about recoil sending that round flying out of there when you shoot it. But we're going to go ahead, like I said, and get these. I've got 15 of these rounds. We're going to try at least 10 of them. I think I'm going to hang on to at least 5 of them. The guy I got these from did have a full unopened box, but I did not want to buy that because I really didn't want to open it. So this one was a partial box. Oh, I'm okay with it, and like I said, we'll give them a try and see if this thing will actually shoot. All right, I've got one of these little smaller targets set up there at the 7-yard line, and I've got the little Hopkins Allen XL double action 32 Smith & Wesson short here. And like I said, I've got these loaded with, these are a black powder cartridge, which would be an older one. This gun cannot be any newer than 1917. So I'm looking at a 100-year-old gun. I think it was made between 1900 and 1917, but I can't confirm that. So I don't want to put any modern smokeless powder cartridges in there because they have a higher pressure. At least with the black powder cartridges, they have a lot lower pressure, and I don't have to worry too much about stressing the gun too much. We're going to do the first shot, at least, in single action and see how it does. Not much in the line of sights on here. Not even really a groove on the top of the frame right there, and that fixed front sight on there. We're going to give it a try. It did fire. I do not see where it hit though. We'll do another one in single action. Actually, it did not advance the cylinder when I did that. Okay, I had to advance it manually, so we'll try it again. Okay, I seen where it hit. It hit extremely high. It actually took a little chunk of wood off the top of my target there. Again, it did not advance the cylinder there. You have to get a little bit of help. And there is a little chunk of metal there. Where is this metal from? It is lead, so it did shave off a little ring of lead there. All right, we're going to try it again. And I skipped one, so we'll try it again. I'm going to aim really low. Nothing. Let's try it one more time. Nothing again. Oh, that was on a fired round. All right, try it one more time. Nothing there. That was also on a fired round. Try it again. May not have been a fired round. It may not have set the round off. That might be the issue there. Like I said, these are probably close to 100-year-old rounds in here too. I did notice when I was dry firing it a couple times that in double action, it kind of needed a little bit of help to advance to the next cylinder. All right, I only got 2 of them to go off. Let's take it apart there and see what the deal is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pull our base pin out, drop our cylinder out, and eject our rounds. That one is kind of stuck in there. Oh, there he comes. Not too bad. So I've got 3 rounds here, and they've got some pretty good hits on those primers there, but they just did not go off. So we'll set those 3 over here. Our 2 fired cases, they don't look like they're overstressed at all. I don't see any cracks in them. They did fall out pretty easy, and they've also got pretty good hits on the end of the primers there too. Let's look at the cylinder. I do not see any cracks in the cylinder. It still looks just like it did before. So we'll go ahead and load it up again. Get the cylinder back in there. Get our base pin back in. And we'll go ahead and put these other 5 rounds in there. All right, and like I said, this thing free spins, which is kind of a, I don't like that because like I said, they can fall out just like that if you turn it upside down. So we'll go ahead and try it again at the target. All right, I got the ears back in and definitely got the eyes on, because with an old gun like this, you don't know what's gonna happen. We'll go ahead and, I'm gonna go ahead and try it in double action. That did fire. That one felt a little harder, but I still didn't hit the target. Nothing. Nothing. Oh, it's not advancing again. Nothing. Again, it's not advancing. All right, single action. Try it on that same one. Still nothing. Different round. That one did fire. Still have no idea where that thing hit. And there's a pretty good, I think it's not quite aligned, it's a pretty good lead shaving that come out of there. And if you see on the back of my hand here, one of them fell out, and it does have a good hit on the primer, so that one did not go off. That one's got a hit on the primer, that one's got a hit. That one does not, so let's go ahead and, all right, see if this one goes off. Nope. And last one. Nope. Not one in that chamber. Try this one again. Nope. Okay, so I've got 3 rounds to go off out of 10. Like I said, this is really old ammo, so, you know, it's, was it ever gonna fire? I don't know. How old is this? I would say that this is probably over 100 years old. I would say it's probably close to, what, 100, and being black powder. 1900s is when they kind of went to smokeless powder, so you're looking at 120, 130 years old for these rounds. And 3 of them did fire, but the other ones did not. The cylinder alignment is not all that great, but there was some pretty good size lead rings shaved off of there, so the alignment is not that great. With an old gun like this, you probably don't really want to fire it. It's more of a collector thing than it is anything else. And I picked this one up at a gun show dirt cheap. I think I paid 30 bucks for it. And you know, knowing that it is what it is an old gun, and it is you know, ammo's not really available for it. It's I took my chances. But for a nice little collector piece, and it is functional, it can be shot. In fact, it did get shot. It's just, This is more of a collector thing, a wall hanger, maybe something to put in a case or something on your coffee table or something in the man cave, who knows. But anyways, a pretty cool old gun, and it did fire. I did not hit my target at all, but it works anyways. Anyways, thanks for checking out the XL Double Action. This is the Hopkins Allen Arms Company out of Norwich, Connecticut, and they've been out of business since 1917, but cool little collector's arms. If you could, hit this button up here to check out some of my other videos. Hit this button down here to subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for taking a look at Great-Granddad's old gun with me.